Hello, this is Tamara Buchan with Reclaim Initiative, Day 3 on our Advent journey of experiencing the discovery of a whole new world. The discovery is the reality that the Kingdom Age has birthed, and as it is birthing and breaking in, there is much taking place in deconstruction, and that is a painful place, but I want to offer some vision and some hope for what the next season of our life is now and can be in the future. What it takes is that we begin to really explore the possibilities and the realities of the Kingdom Age. As heaven connects with earth and we discover a whole new world, a whole new way of life. And we've started this week in the garden, in the beginning, because we can often find the clues of what this age will be through the way the original foundation was put in place and the original garden operated. So come along on this journey, and I promise that at the end you will have discovered some new realities to add value to your life and to help you make this transition into a whole new season, the Kingdom Age. So Adam and Eve only knew life. There was no death in the garden. Can you imagine? No plant ever died. No people ever died. No trees ever died. There was only increasing life because the frequency and the synergy of the garden was life. It was beauty. It was harvest. It was connection and relationship between the one who created them and their partner, their perfect complement. And their role each day was to play and to name the animals and to discover and to eat from the tree of life. The tree of life fed them so that they would live eternally. What Adam and Eve knew, and we are only just discovering, is that they were spirit. They were spirit first. And they were not confined by their bodies. They didn't have to recover from the exhaustion of work like we do. They didn't have to spend hours trying to keep their bodies in shape or looking good, as we often do. They came each day with a new expectancy, a new discovery, and get this, a spirit of rest that came through play and partnership. So what does that look like? Well, they understood that work wasn't part of their vocabulary. It was discovery and exploration and joy and being in relationship with one another and with God. I said that twice because let's let it sink in. This is what they didn't do. They didn't work to make a living. They didn't take care of their possessions because they really had none. The whole garden was their kingdom, and they were stewards of it. They were there to care for it, to protect it, and to discover with their Creator how they were to expand it. In our Western mindset, though, we often see them, envision them as bodies. Every book that we see, they have a body. And that's just the way we think about things. But what if their body was filled with glowing light, with the radiance and the glory of the frequency of the spirit that they were given? They weren't confined by skin. They weren't confined by organs. They had a whole different way of operating. That's how the ancient mystics saw them, because they knew that they were spirit first, and they began to understand that there's a whole new way for us to live. but that got buried by the Western mindset and by the reality that we rest from work. The Eastern mindset is that we work from rest. But in the garden, there was no work to rest from. There was only creativity and creation. So let's consider, how are our lives different than this? We can't even begin to think about it, right? It feels so far-fetched. Right now we're in the Christmas season, the holidays as everyone calls it, and our to-do lists are filled. But I find it so funny sometimes that people gather less during the holidays than more. And I often wonder, what are they so busy doing? Because to me, the joy of the holidays is being with people I love and doing the things that fill me and bring me joy. And we often believe that we have to build something. Right now, there's a lot of talk about building an online platform. There's a talk about building a business and often building a house or a patio or a garden. We're constantly in the thought process of how do we build? So here's the difference between the kingdom mindset and lifestyle from the current church season age is that building comes through creativity, it comes through relationship, and it comes through rest. God knew this. He created for 6 days, time periods, and then he rested. And why did he rest? Because he was tired? No, because he wanted to enjoy what he had created. He wanted to live in to the relationships of the original people. He wanted that connection. And then that's how he wired us. But the original Jewish chosen people, they took what was a call, an invitation into rest and made it into 400 laws. And I'm reading the source right now, and it's interesting that the rabbis would get together and they would argue these small points about what could and couldn't be done on the Sabbath, making it even more difficult rather than restful. Funny, I once held the mistaken belief system as I was in full-time ministry that the harder I worked, the more fruit I would get to see. And finally, out of sheer exhaustion, about to drop from the pressure and the constant work, I said, God, I can't work any harder. And I sensed him saying to me, good, can we do it my way now? And shortly after that, we had a move to California where we moved to a land that had a spirit of rest over it. That's all I can say, is that I got to experience for a few years a glimpse of what the garden could be. People came that were exhausted, and they rested, and they refreshed, and they went home with fresh vision and fresh energy. People came onto the land and they got healed. And there was many fun experiences with people gathering, many that didn't know each other, but found a place of joy and play and rest. Those were beautiful days in that garden, in that place, where I got to live on land that knew how to rest. And it brought me into a whole new mindset and lifestyle. And so now we're faced with the question of how do we take steps to align with the kingdom lifestyle? First of all, it comes from developing a kingdom mindset and beginning to look at rest and work differently. Well, here's what Hebrews 11 speaks to us in the wisdom that comes from this wonderful book. Now faith brings our hopes into reality and becomes the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. It is all the evidence required to prove what is still unseen. Faith empowers us to see that the universe was created and beautifully coordinated by the power of God's words. He spoke, and the invisible realm gave birth to all that was seen. God spoke, and his words gave birth to the invisible realm, gave birth to all that is seen. Imagine this. We can also speak as co-partners with God. What he shows us, what he gives us, we can speak and begin to create. As we shift our mind from the pressure of work to rest, relationship, and play, taking small moments out of our day just to breathe and to imagine and to listen, that can change everything. Last night I went to one of the groups that I'm part of, and we did some yoga. And amazingly, in 10 minutes, I had a whole new wave of energy because we rested for a few minutes. So here's my challenge to you. Do some deep breathing, connect with the spirit within you, and think about how to be at rest and relationship with the King of the universe, and how to bring that breath into your body, maybe taking a micro minute of rest each hour, but changing up a rhythm in your life so that you do something different to get a different result. And spend some time discovering the new way of actually living in rest, living in constant relationship, taking the compartmentalization out of our lives and coming into full integration of being spirit first with our bodies and our souls, listening to and moving in response to what the Spirit of God within us is saying and doing. I bless you on this third day of Advent, and I look forward to journeying with you more tomorrow.